Lisa, dinner. Zoya called her daughter from the kitchen, but heard no response, no movement. What are you going to do with her? She has her headphones on again and can't hear anything. Zoya resolutely entered her daughter's room. Taka, you're on the phone again. Zoya pulled the earpiece out of her daughter's ear. Lisa flinched in surprise and did not immediately think to cover the phone screen from her mother's eyes. Are you texting with him again? He is a bad influence on you, distracts you from your studies, and you're graduating. The exams are not tomorrow. Lisa guiltily stretched out, pulled the earpiece out of her other ear, and turned off the phone. Let's go to dinner, repeated Zoya strictly and headed for the door. Lisa sighed and obediently got up from the couch. She did not want to eat, but it was better not to argue with her mother. She reluctantly picked up pasta with a fork and looked at her mother furtively. Eat. Your Romeo can wait for you. Zoya interpreted her daughter's glances in her own way. His name is Kerr, quietly corrected her mother Lisa. Tell me, please. I didn't know, said Zoya sarcastically. You got excited too early. We're just friends. Mom, that's enough, asked Lisa. Zoya put a cup of tea in front of her daughter and put a cheesecake on the plate. Eat. Only eyes are left, she said peacefully to her daughter. What? Mom saw our correspondence yesterday. She doesn't like me, said Yeager when he met Lisa outside school the next day. Don't worry, she didn't. And about the fact that she doesn't like you. She's just worried about me. She doesn't want me to make the same mistake she did. You know, she fell in love in her second year of college and got married right away. When she gave birth to me, so many things came at once. Studies, lack of money, me too. She and my father were not ready for that. They quarreled a lot. Mom said it was like he'd been replaced. She took a sabbatical and came home with me to my parents. And my father, he never called, never came over. It was like he cut us out of his life. He filed for divorce. It was really hard on my mom. My parents were worried, scolded her for getting married early. What alimony from a student. And then when my father started working, she took pride and did not humiliate herself and ask for alimony. That's all love. Lisa sighed. Mom didn't go back to school. She went to work as a simple administrator at the museum, part-time janitor. I don't want to do that. Lisa walked beside Yeager, her head bowed. Until we graduate, don't even think about getting married. I'm not thinking about anything like that. And why didn't your mother get married again? Yeager asked, looking at Lisa. There were many suitors, but she was afraid for me. A strange man in the house. I guess she just didn't meet her soulmate. I see, Igor muttered. Listen, my father has a friend. He came to visit us recently. He's a great guy. His wife died in childbirth 3 years ago. The baby too. I knew Aunt Luba. She was beautiful. It's a shame about her. I heard him tell my father that he was tired of being alone. He wanted a family, but he was afraid. He compares everyone to his wife. And you're suggesting he meet my mother. You're something else. Lisa even stopped with indignation. What's the big deal? It's not like she's letting you go anywhere with me. If she had a personal life, she would be easier about it. And so, sighed Yeager, you think so? Only my mother is not so easy to persuade to meet a man. She thinks you're all unreliable, that you can't be trusted, that at the slightest difficulty you run away and leave. When Lisa said this, she saw that Yeager frowned and became sad. She is talking about grown men, not about you. Lisa reassured Yeager. And I'm not a man. A child, do you think? Snapped at Yeager offensively. Do not be offended. She's afraid that you may do to me as your father did to her. Do you understand? Lisa conciliatory stroked Yeager on the arm. Have you never seen him? Father, Yeager asked me more calmly. How? We left. He never wrote, and he never came. He must have had another family for a long time. Maybe I have a brother or sister. Can you imagine? Lisa smiled unhappily. You and I will have 2 children. Igor livened up, so they won't be bored. We agreed on that. Lisa looked reproachfully at her friend. Yegor really liked her. When he was near, as he was now, her heart began to beat strongly and a pleasant warmth poured out inside her. She wanted more than anything to kiss him, hold him, and not part from him even for a moment. But mother, come on, what are you doing up? Lisa shouted at Yegor, and the first went on. Yegor caught up with her. So, shall we introduce them? It won't work. Mom doesn't look at men. Not at all. And we'll think of something, Yegor persisted. The snow was falling, and Lisa and Yegor didn't notice it, discussing how to introduce adults who are afraid of making new acquaintances. In the evening, Lisa told her mother that on Friday there would be a parents' meeting about the upcoming graduation party. Already? So early? Zoya was surprised. Mom, all the cafes will be booked by summer. We'll have to sit in the school cafeteria. It sucks. Lisa was indignant. Okay, what time is the meeting? Mom asked tiredly. At 7 in the evening. Okay, just help me clean up at the end of work, or I won't have time. Zoya expected Lisa to whine, to say that she had a lot of homework, that she had things to do. Okay, Lisa suddenly agreed easily, surprising her mother. On Friday, she really helped her mother clean the stairs and the hall in the museum. As she approached the school, Zoya saw lights in several windows on the second floor. She entered the empty building and began to walk up to the second floor. Her footsteps rumbled in the silence of the empty corridors. Suddenly, Zoya heard someone's footsteps behind her. She looked back. Behind her was a man walking hurriedly. Wait, where is the 12th room? Can you tell me? He shouted to her. Zoya stopped, waiting for him. Zoya, you? The man stopped before she reached a couple of steps. Zoya was taken aback. She recognized him as Alexei, her ex-husband, Lisa's father. Are you going to the meeting too? Are any of your children in the same class as my Lisa? Zoya suddenly couldn't breathe. No, a friend's son. He and his wife are on duty as doctors. They asked me to come. Or rather, I volunteered myself out of nothing to do. Zoya went further down the corridor when Alexei's voice stopped her. So, your daughter is already in her senior year? Yes, our daughter studies here. Or did you forget that you and I have a daughter? Zoya sarcastically remarked. No, I haven't. It's just... Alexei hesitated. I'm not sure it's my daughter. Oh, really? Zoya gasped. Do you remember Lenka Smirnova? Well, she said that she saw you together with this. What's his name? Tolik. And that the child you have not from me. I was going crazy at the time. I was ready to kill you. Remember how we fought? Alexei was getting heated. Are you serious right now? Why didn't you ask me? The fool in love with you said something about me, and you believed her. Is that why you didn't call me, didn't come over, filed for divorce? I haven't seen you for 17 years, and I never want to see you again. Zoya shouted and ran away. Her heels frightened the silence of the school corridor with a machine gun burst. Wait, Zoya, belatedly called out Alexei, and rushed to catch up with her. But Zoya did not want to talk to him. She pushed him away. She came home with her eyes red and swollen with tears. Mom, why are you so early? There wasn't a meeting. Lisa got worried. Put the kettle on, Zoya only said and shut herself in the bathroom. I told you it wouldn't work. Something went wrong. Mom's crying. Came home too fast. What to do? Lisa texted Yegor. Mom came into the kitchen. She had already changed her clothes and cleaned herself up. So what about the meeting? Lisa asked again. Mom took a few sips of strong tea before she answered. I don't know. I met your father. Zoya sipped again, the cup in her hand trembling. Father. Here. Lisa rounded her eyes in surprise. Yes, here. It turns out, all these years he thought you weren't his daughter. Zoya sobbed with resentment. I can't believe you'd think of such a thing. I wish I'd never seen him again. That's it. I don't want to talk about him. After tea, Lisa went to her room and wrote to Yegor. Mom said she met my father. It's crazy. Late that night, the doorbell rang in the apartment. Zoya went to open the door. You? Why did you come? Go away. Lisa heard her mother's frightened voice. She came out of her room. She saw some man in the hallway and Yegor behind him. Her heart jumped in her breast anxiously and joyfully at the same time. Zoya, please, listen to me, said the man. I don't want to hear anything. You never called me once when I left. You haven't been interested in us all these years. Go away. Zoe's voice broke into a shout. Will you listen to me? The man shouted too. Yes, I was a fool. But I was so jealous of you that it only took one drop of a lie for me to believe it. The man said in a dropped voice. Let me guess. You married Smirnova. I knew it. Zoya laughed hysterically. We separated after 6 months. I didn't love her. It's my fault. I'm sorry. The man noticed Lisa. So mature. I don't understand anything. Uncle Lyosha, are you Lisa's father? Yegor asked. It turns out that I am. All my life I denied it. How can I fix it? Zoya. Lisa almost cried. There's just no such thing as a coincidence. Mom spoke ill of her father. And here he was, standing across from her, and she didn't know how to relate to him. She listened to herself and felt more happy about it than upset, especially since he looked quite decent. You could even call him handsome. But her mother was right. He hadn't been in her life for 17 years. He wasn't interested, didn't want to know anything about her. It's so easy for you. Let's try to fix it. Zoya mocked Alexei. You wrote me such a letter the other day. I'm speechless. How dare you even come here? Why are we standing in the hallway? Lisa intervened. Let's go into the kitchen. We'll talk there. She stroked her mother on the shoulder. Zoya sharply twitched her shoulder, throwing her hand away. Don't interfere, Lisa. We're not going anywhere. You think it's easy to forgive those 17 years. It's time for him to go. Zoya went to the door and swung it open. Go away. I didn't write you any letters. Lisa's right. We should. Go away. With tears in her voice, Zoya repeated and went into her room. All night long, Lisa heard her mother tossing and turning in the next room, sighing and sobbing. And Lisa thought of her father, of what she had learned from the fragments of phrases. Someone had deceived them both, separated them, and they had believed it, parted. Why is it so hard for people to talk? A DNA test would have cleared up any doubts. The day after school, she and Igor pondered what to do. I'll talk to Uncle Lyosha. He's interested in finding out the truth, Yegor promised. And you agree to do the test. You bet I am. For several days, the situation was tense. Zoya refused to talk about her father with Lisa, and she eagerly awaited the result of the test. Yegor persuaded Uncle Lyosha to go to Lisa's mother and read the conclusion together. Lisa really turned out to be the daughter of Alexei, the same man that he and Igor wanted her mother to meet, set up their meeting at school. 17 years of resentment is hard to forget. Alexei didn't rush Zoya. He patiently endured the accusations, begged forgiveness. After a while, Zoya forgave him. They were brought closer together by Lisa, who wanted very much to have a father. The main thing was that they were all together, even after 17 years. You shouldn't believe gossip and the words of an envious friend, especially one who is in love with your husband.